The story's about the best friendship built out of alcohol poisoning. Let me whisk you away to the beautiful beach town of Nice in the south of France. Gorgeous Mediterranean coast. Me standing there wondering about the boat regatta that's being built, and someone approaching me asking about the same situation in French, which I don't speak. I said, I only speak English. And this person in perfect English said to me, what's going on here? I said, this is a mystery to me as well. We discovered minutes later this is a boat regatta being assembled. The next day, this gentleman and I have become fairly good friends that evening, and we returned to witness this boat regatta, both of us unsure of what's happening, and developed a certain kind of friendship in that moment that took us away to the bar at the end of the evening. The two of us had never met before the night before, and we crossed paths with two Canadian gentlemen. The four of us then decided to go out to a bar where they serve meter shots, 3 feet of alcohol for €5. Can't beat that. So we spend the rest of the evening downing these and meet 4 English girls who spend the entire evening talking about how they love men that speak broken English. This entire time I'm with the Swedish man who when I met him, I assumed he was from Southern California. He had spoken such perfect English, I would have assumed that I was the foreigner in this situation. So 2 nights later, me and these 3 gentlemen, the 4 of us, we go out and we decide it would be hilarious if this Swedish guy decides he can't speak English very well for that night. He goes out, I from Sweden, I like ski, you like ski? Every English-speaking person in this bar ate it up. Women were loving it, left and right. We crossed paths with 4 English girls who were so enthralled by this person speaking broken English, they were willing to give us their time for the rest of the evening. And this guy was furious. He's like, I have to pretend like I don't speak English this entire time. We thought it was hilarious. So he is sitting there, speaking broken English all night long. These girls loving every second of this. The one girl at one point of the evening says, I have never met a Swedish person that couldn't speak English perfectly in my entire life. I had to leave the table and I had to get out of the bar for a second. I thought it was amazing. Right. We essentially at that point, we all separated. 2 nights later, these 4 gentlemen, these 3 gentlemen and myself, we go back out and we're like, okay, what can we do this evening to cheer us up, to make this as equally as amazing as the other night? Sorry. I'm sorry. We decided to go out 2 nights later and pretend like this guy can't speak English again. So he goes out, I from Sweden, I like ski. We are sitting there drinking meter shots, 3 feet of alcohol for €5, basically nothing, and get completely wasted drunk. Who do we run into but these same 4 English girls that we met 2 nights earlier? These girls were so enthralled to see us. They were so enthralled to interact with this man who couldn't speak English very well. And I thought it was amazing. The other 2 guys thought it was amazing. The Swedish guy was furious that he could not participate in regular conversation for the remainder of the evening. He thought it was so fucking wrong that he could not speak English. Long and short of it is, we walk out of the bar, everyone parts ways with their own particular English girl. I end up on the beach with a bottle of wine, beautiful situation, looking at the Mediterranean, and this girl takes 1 sip out of the bottle of wine, she throws up all over my lap, all over my shirt, all over everything I'm wearing. She's puking, walking off the beach, she's puking into the grass. At one point or another, I decide I have to call 911. I didn't know how to do that because it's France. They don't have the same 911 we have. I have to ask people. No one's very helpful. They're laughing at the situation. They're taking pictures of my misery, my hell, and finally, one thing leads to another, and they get them into an ambulance. I arrive at the hospital. Second bell? I arrive at the hospital, only to witness my Swedish friend walk in the door. He says to me, "What are you doing here?" I said, "What are you doing here?" "I'm here for alcohol poisoning." He's like, "I'm here for alcohol poisoning too." 2 seconds later, the 2 Canadian guys that we're with, they walked through the door. All 4 of us end up in the same hospital in the same evening. Everyone has the same story. Everybody started throwing up on each other. we essentially just leave the girls at the hospital. We walk out of the place trading stories. Everyone has the same thing, except for the Swedish guy who could not participate in speaking English all night long. He's like, "You think you guys had it bad?" I couldn't speak English the entire time. I had to pretend like I didn't know what was going on. So she falls down a set of stairs. He has her video camera on her phone, taking pictures the entire time, turns it on himself at the last minute and says, in perfect English, like he was from Southern California, "Shit has gone too far. I have to take you to the hospital now." And that was the best friendship that has ever been built off of alcohol poisoning.